Hey, not everybody knows who you are, what you do. In fact, you probably are telling the world how great you are, and nobody really believes you. I'm Dr. Christopher Vogelman here with Health Broadcasters, joined by John Paduchek.
That's me. I'm here right
Also-
alongside you today.
You're what?
I'm here right alongside you today.
Yes, you are. You're not in the captain's seat of RV John's vehicle. You're
No, I'm
actually
in the
passenger seat.
passenger seat today.
Does that mean I'm driving?
Gosh, I hope not.
Based on the opinion of several members of my family.
I've heard.
Mm.
It's one of those things I think that goes along with COVID. Everybody's driving's a little rusty. We're not driving as much as we used to be.
That is true. I kind of resent the idea that we have to pay so much money for car insurance for two vehicles, and yet we're almost driving nowhere fast. So today we're talking about the fact that often you in your practice, no matter what your profession is, you could be a chiropractor, dentist, a medical doctor, acupuncturist, massage therapist, physical therapist, nutritionist, any of those professions. Veterinarian. That's a good example we had just before we went live.
Just talking about that. Don't leave them out.
And don't leave that out, because the kitties, the puppies, and the exotic animals may be in need of your care. But if nobody believes that you're the best in town, it's not going to do you any good.
Or even knows about you.
Or knows about you. But I think in this one, it's, really more about belief and about social proof. And we're talking in this case about testimonials. So you may call yourself the top veterinarian in Hudson, New Hampshire, or the best chiropractor in San Diego, or the perfect nutritionist to the stars in Hollywood. But unless you have testimonials, probably you don't have enough social proof.
That is definitely so.
So what do you think about testimonials, Mr.?
I think testimonials are incredibly important because, it's a third party saying how excellent your work is. And usually they highlight a particular part that they think is very exciting. And there's a lot of great ways to do testimonials with video. There's also a lot of ways that don't work so well. And that's going to be one thing that we're going to be talking about in the workshop that we're doing. Like what ways work well and what ways don't work well.
It's hard to say what ways work well. It's like she sells seashells by the seashore.
It does. So where I'm going with that. So one thing that I discovered, in our own business is that if we send somebody to do a testimonial for us, do they do it usually? A lot of times they don't do it. No. And what I have found recently is a great application that allows you to send over a link to whoever you want to do a testimonial for you, and you can kind of guide them through it so they do a great job. And just send it back to you. It's all done.
So do you get the release then for you to be able to use their image and voice and everything? Because that's an important part some people forget about video testimonials.
Oh, that's a good part. So I don't know if you get the release from it, but you certainly can do that as part and parcel of doing this.
Okay.
And get a release to be able to do it.
That's, I think the power of that, as you mentioned before, third-party validation is really important.
It's huge.
It is huge, because you may say that you're top notch, and you may say you are superior. Your equipment is the best there is, and you take care of X, Y, and Z conditions. But somebody else, one of your clients, one of your patients saying it on your behalf carries a lot more weight.
Especially in a video form where they're doing it in their own words, in their own voice, mano a mano, so that you can actually hear them, right?
They're doing it mano a mano with
one person to another, so that you can.
One person to another. Well, it's important. It's important too when you're doing these video testimonials. You really want to take a picture of the person who's giving the testimonial. So just grab your phone, take a picture of them, and you can actually do this with them. And it's probably the best thing to do is actually an interview, because it's more likely they're going to participate with you if you are there with them during the testimonial. So you take a photo of them, then you switch to video mode on your phone and ask some of these questions. Yes. What's your name? And what do you do for a living? What problem did you have when you came to the office that caused you, to come to the practice for help? What was their chronic health condition, for example? How did you hear about our practice? Maybe through friends, through the ads, or whatever it is. What was your experience with our practice? And if somebody else was having the same problem that you came to us with, what would you say to them and why? What would you recommend?
All great questions. And, I know personally from our practice that when you go through questions like that and somebody sees that and then goes, oh my gosh, here's somebody who had the exact same thing, a really similar condition to me. It does two things. One, they're really excited about coming to see you. But two, they won't even call to ask additional questions. Basically, you've answered them right there. So you're saving yourself a lot of stress on, your receptionist, the people who answer your calls in the office, and immediately the person's ready to come in and say, here I am. I know you can do what I need to do because your testimonial says that. So any testimonials like that line up and help people to make that decision to come and see you, how do you go wrong with that?
Yeah. I mean, this is word of mouth amplified or magnified. And because if you just hear from someone about your practice, or if somebody else hears about you from someone else in the practice, just over coffee, hey, coffee or something else, then it doesn't carry as much weight. But if they hear you, see you, and your word of mouth is the equivalent to maybe 100 different coffee meetups, that's tremendous, because you actually have your clients, you have your patients selling on your behalf. They're not really selling, but what they're doing is they're telling their story. And what we know nowadays is that stories sell.
Exactly. And a lot of times, it's one thing for a business owner to say, well, we get all these referrals, but it's another thing to have somebody say, exactly, this is what we do for you. And we were able to resolve this situation from a third party. So,
yeah. And we talked about in the previous video about people, or previous two videos, about people knowing what kind of special equipment you may have. Maybe you have a special technique. Maybe you've treated some very famous people who don't mind you sharing, name dropping on their behalf. But this is the one where you engage the people who've had results with you. And even those who may not have been totally cured, if you will, from your techniques and procedures, if they've found significant relief and a higher quality of life, that's an amazing testimonial for people who suffer from chronic health conditions.
Right. Exactly.
RV John, what's going on outside?
I got somebody who popped in here on the side of me. So I'm just saying,
are they waving at you and encouraging you to continue to do good work?
Exactly. That's exactly
the beauty. This is the beauty of live video. I mean, we've said it before. We eat our own dog food. So
we do. And sometimes things pop up, and you learn over time how to mitigate those things. All of which we're going to talk about in the workshop that we're having.
Oh yeah. Hey, and so by the way, the workshop is coming up this coming Saturday. It is, I'm remembering this now, the Easy Video Marketing Workshop for busy healthcare professionals. I was going to say Easy Video Marketing Guide, because I'm working on a guide for the workshop.
I know. I've got a couple things I'm working on too. I don't want to misspoke.
So we have 8 hours that we're going to spend with you. We divide it up into approximately 4 hours of content where we're teaching you things and, giving you answering your questions. But more than that, a good portion of our time, more than half of our time, is going to be spent in you practicing your video techniques, your messaging and things like that, and getting feedback from us in a safe space where nobody else is watching. None of your community is going to be able to see you making mistakes. But here's the thing. You're either going to, I'm not going to say succeed, because that's such a bad word. I was going to say fail. There's only learning and accomplishing.
Yeah. And I was going to say, as long as you show up and do the work, you can't help but not succeed. So the big thing is show up, do the work, and you're going to leave this workshop this Saturday with 4 to 5 videos that.
Oh, you did 4 to 5. I did
4 to 5. 3 to 5.
3 to 5, because
3 to 5 that you can implement immediately in your business for social media and on your website.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, too, if you have a brain fart like I just did in live video, you just roll with it.
Yeah, that's how we roll
with our brain farts.
We have those on occasion. It doesn't happen. Nobody can avoid that.
So I'm going to put the link down below this video, wherever you're watching. Those of you who are watching from the LinkedIn event that we put together on Facebook, you're actually watching on YouTube. Some of you are watching on Facebook. Some of you are watching on Twitter through Periscope. And some of you, well, you were going to watch on Instagram Live, but I couldn't get the thing up quickly enough.
Oh, well.
That's just the way it works. And some of you are actually on the Marketing Happy Hour page, and you're also, some of you are actually watching in the Health Broadcasters group. You're already in the public group. So
Sure.
we're gonna drop down that link. It's only $197. We priced it low. It will never, ever, I promise, ever be this low again.
Definitely not.
But this is our maiden voyage, and this is our beta test, and we're going to find out in our beta test what works best and what you want. So
Exactly.
anyway, click it. Find out more information at the very least, and maybe you can pass it on to a friend or another colleague. All right.
Hope to see you on the inside.
Yeah, we're out of here for now. We'll be back again tomorrow. Bye.
Bye for now.